Over the last year, I've had a lot of people ask me the same questions. Where have you been? How'd you injure yourself? Did you retire from triathlon? Honestly, it hasn't been easy to talk about. Last May, I raced Ironman 70.3 St. George, and the next morning, I woke up with pain that would completely change the next year of my life. And what I didn't realize at the time was it would take nearly a full year just to sort it out, and maybe even longer to fix it. But now, I finally have an answer, and I'm going to share it with you in this video. So before we get into the story, it's been a little while since I last posted. So if you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe as it really helps support the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at gregstrijourney, where I share more real-time updates. And you can check out my brand new website, gregstrijourney.com, for all the free downloadable resources that I've put together. All right, let's get into the story. So let's go back to May 10th, 2025. I raced Ironman 70.3 St. George, which, if you know the course, you know it's one of the toughest races in mid-distance triathlon. Without doing a full recap, everything went to plan, if not better than expected. Outside of a bit of gut trouble on the run, honestly, I had a race that I was genuinely proud of. I got to travel with my family and some really great friends, and I even had the chance to meet Tim O'Donnell, who was a huge inspiration to me as a new parent navigating training in long-distance triathlon. All in all, the race went really well, and despite pushing through the 36 Celsius degree heat, I crossed the finish line feeling really proud of myself. But once the adrenaline wore off, something didn't feel right. And the next morning, I woke up in serious pain. And that's where everything began to shift. At first, I thought it was just soreness. I mean, it's St. George. Everyone's sore after that race. But as the days went on and I traveled back home, the pain didn't fade the way it normally would. Instead, I think it actually got worse. And I had gone right back into my next training block. I would say that at the time, the only way I could probably describe it to people was like as if someone was like jamming a knife straight into my hip. It was sharp, constant. It completely changed how I could move. I tried to continue training, but running just became impossible. I couldn't even make it 100 meters down my own street. Swimming and biking, they were manageable, but running is such a core part of triathlon, and that was completely gone. And at that point, I knew I had to figure out what was actually going on. As I was preparing for Ironman Ottawa, they would be coming to my hometown in like 2 months' time. But I was in so much pain, I could barely turn over in bed. I could hardly lift my leg up to get into the car. Something was wrong. So I started going through the process of seeing doctors and getting imaging done. In mid-June, I had an X-ray, and the initial thought was that I had a lesser trochanter avulsion fracture. And at first I thought maybe this is something that could heal, or maybe it was something that had even happened years ago based on how it looked and appeared in the imagery. But to give it any chance, I had to get on crutches right away and get off the weight. And even with that, something didn't feel right. My range of motion was very limited. The pain was still there, and it just didn't add up. So based on some further recommendations from some amazing medical professionals that I work with, shout out Dr. Dave, I went for an MRI in early July, and that's when everything changed. The MRI revealed that I had a significant labral tear in my right hip. And in that moment, it became clear. This wasn't something that was going to resolve itself on its own. And that realization led directly to one of the hardest decisions I've had to make while doing triathlon. Now, by this point, I'm about 1 month out from Ironman Ottawa, my hometown race, the first Ironman ever coming to our city, something that I had been training for and preparing for over a year at this point. And while I didn't want to, there was no way I could race. I had no other choice but to pull out and shift my focus towards figuring out what comes next. And at that stage, it was becoming increasingly clear that physio alone isn't going to fix this. Surgery was likely going to be the path forward, and one that would probably hurt a lot. So before I could get any more answers, race day in Ottawa came around on August 3rd. And instead of being on the start line, I was on the sidelines, cheering, watching my friends and my training partners and my community accomplish something that I had been working towards all year and then some. It was hard, honestly, but at the same time, with a bit of shift in perspective, it was also incredible, because that's what this sport is really about. I watched one of my best friends in Jeremy finish his first Ironman. I watched my friend Sean raise thousands of dollars for a great cause and complete his first Ironman. I watched countless other Instagram friends and so many others from the AB coaching crew that I'm a part of cross that finish line as well. Honestly, the city showed up, the energy was incredible, and for an entire weekend, triathlon became the heartbeat of Ottawa. And of course, I was disappointed not to be racing, but I was incredibly grateful that I could still be a part of it, hobbling around on my crutches all day. And that experience helped me move from frustration towards acceptance. But the reality was, I was still in the middle of this process. From there, the process continued. In early September, I finally met with an orthopedic surgeon. He ordered further imaging, including more x-rays and a CT scan to kind of get a clearer picture. And knowing that this was going to take some time to resolve, he also recommended a cortisone injection. And that injection, which I received in the fall, was a really big moment for me, because for the first time since late June, I was finally able to get off my crutches. The relief was incredible. It gave me a glimpse as to what it might feel like once I'm healed. And then on November 17th, after a follow-up appointment, I was officially approved for surgery to repair my torn labrum. So at that point, I knew that this is what's going to need to be done, but still didn't know when it would happen. So this is where things became a little more challenging. For those who don't know, I live in Canada, and while I am incredibly grateful for our healthcare system, the reality is that it can take time. I think the gift and the curse is that it's free, but the wait times can be very long. It took months just to get onto a surgery list, and then once you're on it, you just wait with no clear indication of when your term's going to come. It's kind of a strange feeling. You're stuck in between. You can't fully move forward, but you're not progressing either. And during that time, it's really hard to make plans because everything feels uncertain and you have no idea when it's going to come. So fast forward to a few weeks ago, something happened that really shifted things for me in a really meaningful way. I came across a post from professional athlete Eric Lagerstrom. If you follow triathlon, you likely know him from That Triathlon Life with his wife and fellow pro triathlete Paula Finley. He shared that he was going through labrum surgery. And when he described the pain, he used the exact same words I had been using all summer. Like a knife in my hip. I'm not exaggerating when I say I nearly cried reading it, because for the first time, I felt seen in another way I hadn't before. And what made it even more surreal was that I think just 2 days before the race in St. George, where I got hurt, we had met him and Paula at a local coffee shop one morning. So for whatever reason, that suddenly feels like something full circle. I don't know. So Eric, if you see this, thank you for sharing your journey. It's been motivating me, and I hope your recovery is going well. So that brings us to today, and I've got some exciting news and a clear answer. After months of waiting, after nearly a full year of dealing with the injury, I finally got the call. My surgery to repair my hip is scheduled for May 1st, 2026. So the procedure that I'll be having is called hip arthroscopy with labral repair and chondro-osteoplasty. It's minimally invasive in the grand scheme of things, but it's still a process. There's going to be crutches again, there'll be rehab, there'll be months of rebuilding, and realistically, with how the race season falls here in Canada, I likely won't be racing in 2026, but that's okay, because right now, the goal is very simple. Fix it properly, recover properly, and come back stronger. Thank you for letting me share this with you guys. I'm going to be sharing this entire journey, including surgery, the recovery, over on my Instagram, @gregstrijourney. So if you want to follow along, make sure that you go check that out. And if you have any suggestions, questions, or even ideas of what you'd like to see while I go through this process, go ahead and drop those in the comments, or feel free to send me a DM. I actually genuinely enjoy connecting and having those conversations with you guys. Also, don't forget to check out my brand new website, gregstrijourney.com, for all my free downloadable resources. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel. And thanks for watching. And always remember, keep having fun while you swim, bike, and run. And I'll see you in the next video.